Thinking drifts, it moves, but without anchor. It continues, but without stability. And what drifts, shifts, and what shifts, interrupts unfolding. So understand this clearly. The ground of thinking is the mind within. This is the 7-minute daily focus, day 88 of 365, to focus on the world within from the world without. Today's focus, the law of thinking, the ground. Pause. Thinking is continuous. Thinking has direction, and thinking requires ground. Without ground, thinking drifts, it moves, but without anchor. It continues, but without stability. And what drifts, shifts, and what shifts, interrupts unfolding. So understand this clearly. The ground of thinking is the mind within, not what is physically seen, not appearance, but within. Thought is within, effect is without, thinking stands between, and thinking must be grounded in what is within. Pause. If thinking is grounded in what is physically seen, it will move according to appearance. It will shift. As appearance shifts, it will react as appearance changes, and that is not stability, that is drift. But when thinking is grounded within, it does not move with appearance. It remains, it holds, it sustains, and what is sustained continues, and what continues unfolds. So the question becomes, where is your thinking grounded? In what is seen or in what is recognized within? Because ground determines stability, and stability determines continuity, and continuity determines unfolding, and unfolding determines physical expression. So remain with this. Ground is not force. Ground is not struggle. Ground is position. You position thinking within. You remain with what is within. You do not move with what is physically seen. And because you remain, thinking stabilizes. And what stabilizes continues. Not doubtfulness, not struggle, not force. You are not pushing the seed, not pressure. You are not trying to make it happen. But steadfastness, focused, to be grounded, is to remain. To remain is to allow unfolding. And what you remain with, you unfold. And what you unfold must physically express. Pause for a moment. Let this deepen. Ground reveals something precise. Thinking does not stabilize by effort. Thinking stabilizes by position. Where you place thinking determines whether it holds or shifts. So, understand the following clearly. You do not control thinking by force. You do not hold thinking by pressure. You stabilize thinking by where you place it. If you place thinking on what is physically seen, it will move as appearance moves. If you place thinking within, it will remain, because within does not shift. This is why many feel instability. Not because thinking is unstable, but because it is grounded in what changes, and what changes cannot hold direction, and what cannot hold direction cannot sustain unfolding. So the practice becomes exact. Notice where thinking is placed. Notice when it shifts to what is physically seen. Notice when it begins to follow appearance. Return within, return to what is recognized within, and remain. Because every return restores ground. Every return restores stability. Every return restores continuity. And what is restored continues. And what continues unfolds. So grounding is not a single act. Grounding is maintained position. It is the decision held. It is the direction stabilized. It is the continuity protected. And when this becomes clear, you stop trying to control outcomes. You stop reacting to what is physically seen. You stop adjusting to appearance and you begin to remain. You remain with what is within. You remain with the seed. You remain with the origin. And because you remain, thinking stabilizes. And what stabilizes continues. And what continues unfolds. And what unfolds must physically express. So understand this finally: ground is not something you find. Ground is something you choose. And once chosen, it must be held, not doubtfulness, not struggle, not force. You are not pushing the seed, not pressure. You are not trying to make it happen, but steadfastness and focus. The decision to remain with what is within, the awareness to recognize when you have moved, and the return that restores ground. Now, the affirmation for day 88. Pause for a moment. Thinking is continuous. I ground my thinking within. I recognize from within, not from what is physically seen. I remain aligned with what is within. I remain steadfast. I sustain the seed through active thinking. I remain with it. And because I remain, it unfolds. And what unfolds must physically express. Remember, by design, by focus.